let's get on with this. This is going to be one hell.
Get on with it.
Alright. God.
He had a very southern drawl there.
He did, didn't he? We're going to be line dancing.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Board Game Gateway Podcast.
We so have to do the board game dedication. We have sexy talk that Kurt's on.
Oh, no. Alright, good. Oh, no, I've lost it again.
Remember, your neighbour. Just so we don't have that problem again.
Sure, that was right. You threw me off because you're like, my name's Steve. We talked about this, and my mind legitimately went, no, we didn't. That millisecond, my mind went, no, we didn't talk about it.
I knew he was joking, but my brain still went, did we?
My mind did. I was like, oh, sorry, Matt. I totally forgot we were doing a bit. Wait a minute. You tricked me in the middle of my intro. Oh, God.
You always allowed me to do a bit.
Alright, okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Board Game Gateway Podcast, episode number 20. Woo!
Oh,
yeah.
So should we be doing a shot if it's 20? Why haven't we got... Now I feel really dumb.
No, I think we should be doing it after, though, because,
Right.
we haven't
We'll never
actually
get through
released...
this if we start drinking.
Exactly
now.
right. If this is the first time you're tuning into the Board Game Gateway Podcast, this is your entryway into board gaming, tabletop gaming, and fun times.
And responsible drinking.
And
Don't you just tack that on the end? I didn't sign up for that at all.
oh, okay. And my name is Neba. I'm your host for this evening, and I'm joined once again by my lovely co-hosts, Mr. Matt,
Hello.
Mr. Ralph,
Hi, everyone.
Mr. Blake.
My bit's been stolen. Again.
It just slipped out. I'm sorry.
We can't help it. Sorry, I'll start with you next time.
I appreciate it.
Sorry, Mr. Blake.
Hi.
Oh, the subtle defeat there.
God. Oh, and for the second time in our podcast's history, we have a guest joining us. The lovely Georgee is behind the mic.
Yoo-hoo.
Ooh. I don't know. That was a little bit... she wasn't sure if she should commit to it there.
I really wasn't.
For those of you who are watching the podcast, you can go and watch this over on our YouTube channel. So go and check that out. But Georgee is my wife, and she's here for a very specific reason tonight. She currently has a piece of information hanging over the top of all of our heads. Tonight we're going to be revealing the Board Game Gateway's top 10 gateway games. Georgee, you've had this information for the past week. How are you feeling about it?
I've got so much power.
She does. So we talked about this on episode 19, last week's episode, but essentially we have all written down individually our top 15 gateway games that we believe would be for whatever reason we think these games would be the best games to get people into board gaming.
Yeah, we did all that individually as well.
Yeah, we did that all individually. So we wrote these down, our top 15 games in no particular order, and then we sent these through to Georgee individually. From there, Georgee collated all of the games and gave us a pool of games. Georgee, how many games did we end up having on that list?
37.
37 games is. So we had quite a few duplicates. Out of a maximum of 60, 37 was the pool that we ended up with.
That's pretty good.
In saying that, though, only one of you can count to 15, it seems. I got 13, 14, 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who gave you 15?
I did.
You did it wrong, there.
Is this another bit? Is
I
this
thought I swore I only gave 10, so the fact that I gave 13 is pretty good.
My comment stands.
So once we had our pool of games, Georgee then put those into the Pub Meeple ranking engine. She then sent the link to all of us, and then we had to rank all of the games. From there, the rankings of the games, we sent them back to Georgee with the official ranking, and then she would basically... we basically did it so that if our number one ranked game was worth 1 point and the 37th ranked game was worth 37 points. We then basically put those pools together, and the game that had the lowest score, so like golf rules, became our number one ranked game. So that is essentially how we got to this point. From there, she's now had the information on the night that it was 11:15 at night that I think the final person which was Matt sent in his list, and Georgie, we went to bed, and Georgie got the ping from Matt. She literally bent down to the side of her bed, picked up her laptop, and immediately put in your list to make sure she knew what the answer was.
It's getting hot and heavy in the bedroom, I see.
Yeah, we
Nothing
do.
gets neated on like lists.
Yes.
Statistical
Spreadsheet.
analysis.
So George holds it over him every night.
She leant over. Guess what I'm doing right now? Making the top 10. Ooh,
Why don't I invite my
that's
wife?
lost.
Why don't I invite my wife on this podcast? This is-
I said nothing.
She didn't even, she hasn't even contributed.
She's just like, it's funny because it's true.
This is just us shitting on you.
do you know what else is funny? Hey George, how many podcasts have you listened to of ours so far?
Well, look.
No, we're after.
This isn't a good start.
We're after a numerical value between 0 and 19.
Cute.
The thing is, like, she's in the house most of the time
That
when
is
we
true.
record
She gets to hear it live.
Yeah, look, I'm your number one fan. Like, no,
Oh.
well. Okay, so I'll be
Even you didn't
downstairs.
believe that.
I'll be downstairs and I'll hear bits of what you're talking about. So last week, I know for a fact, no, it was the week before,
Oh,
you were talking about giant Jenga and you referred to...
That was 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
yeah. But we did cut that from the episode.
we did.
Oh,
It did
that's
actually
awkward.
it did actually get cut from the episode.
So the audience went,
Well,
Yeah, she's like, she doesn't listen at all.
I'm really sorry
Giant
for sending you
Jenga.
that personalised message saying you're getting a shout out in the next podcast because you didn't. Because they cut it.
There was a whole bunch of stuff that was one of those weird episodes where editor Neba had to make the first cuts. I'm like, oh, I don't feel good about it, but we had to at the time because that went for nearly an hour and 40. That one, that was
Yeah, it was just to prove a point tonight, really. He knew you were listening at that point.
Now, before we get into the list, though, Georgie, you have played quite a few games on this list, though. You gave us a percentage point of how many of these games you have
I
played.
have played 62.04% of these
Wow,
games.
she even
Wow.
got two decimal points.
List
Yeah.
and statistical analysis. What a
And I have
Whoa.
played 66.3% of the top 10.
That's pretty good. That's pretty high. I don't even think I've matched it that high because there's a lot of games on here that I have not played.
So,
Did you vote for them in the top 10 then?
I don't know. Well, I did this as an objective vote.
Right.
So, like, I did it as what would I think be a great gateway game is how I did my voting.
that's how I did mine, too. I was
Yeah.
very much on... There are a couple of these games where I'm like, these normally wouldn't make my top 10, but if I'm truly being objective about what I think is actually a really good gateway game, I would probably pick this game. There's a couple of those on my list, too.
Yeah.
So Georgie does know quite a bit. She has been my willing test subject for a lot of these games. She actually does get she has her own seal of approval. She's got the wife seal of approval. And a lot of our friends actually go to Georgie, is this a good game? And if it gets her tick of approval,
That's
they know.
better than, what is it, the Spill de Jaris or something?
Yeah, you got it. I don't even...
No,
he's now taking
I
my
don't mean
bit.
to steal
No,
your thought.
you're taking my bit now. It's fine. It's fine. Now I understand how Blake feels.
doesn't feel good,
It's
does
just
it?
so disappointing.
No, it doesn't feel good. Anyway, okay. Look, this episode could go on forever with us just talking crap. So instead of that, we're going to get into this, and so we're going to start with number 10. We're going to work our way up to the number 1 game, and then we're going to come back and talk about some of the ones that we think missed the game. Now, if you want to know what the full list of 37 games is, go to our website, boardgamegateway.com. We're not going to read them out here, but the full list of what we could have picked will be available for you on the website.
Actually, what we did tonight, we just sort of thought of this beforehand. We decided to do from that list of 37 games, which you can see on our website, we made our own little board game bingo. So if you want to play along at home with this list, feel free to print that out or just jot your own little games on here from the list and play along with us.
Yeah. So we'll that'll all be available on the website. So thank you for giving me more work, me and Ralph, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm looking forward to this one. But without any further ado, let us get into the Board Game Gateway's top 10 gateway games, starting with number 10.
Okay. So, number 10, I have played.
Ooh. Production value.
I created a
slides.
slideshow.
Well,
Really good for audio podcast again. Slides.
Yeah.
YouTube channel, you can see the slides.
Number 10 is
A blank slide. The
The
Mind.
mine. Ooh.
The Mind comes in at number 10. So for those of you who've never played The Mind, it is a cooperative game where we are literally trying to play cards from 1 to 100, but the kicker is we can't speak. I am not surprised to see that there.
No, I think it had to be there somewhere. It's one of my favourite gateway games. It's so simple, so easy to play. You see, whenever we get it out, you see people playing it from young all the way up the age ladder, and it's just such a good time. Everyone who plays it, I've seen, has had a good time with this game.
There is a second version of it called the Mind Extreme, which is currently sitting on the shelf of shame with the plastic wrap still on it. But you have to go both directions.
You play two decks
okay.
at the same
Two
time.
decks.
So
And
one's
I'm
going
nervous.
from 100 to 1, and the other one's going from 1 to 100, and everyone has different...
See, that's my face too.
Yeah, the
Audio
numbers,
podcast.
The numbers
And-
are different colours. So,
Mine is hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Why does it need to be hard?
Hence
harder?
why it's still wrapped in the plastic. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I looked at it and I'm like, oh.
Well, look, I'll be keen to try it because I've actually beaten The Mind once with 3 people. And now we kind of feel like, yeah, we've done that. Why should we play it again? But now with this version, I'm like, I'm keen to give this one a go.
Yep.
Because now if someone's they're looking at me and they're giving me the look like you should play your card, I don't know which one they're talking about.
I think our family, there's too much of a chaos element for us to ever actually
Be
defeat
silent.
the game.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, there's that. That's part of the problem with The Mind. It's too quiet. I better say my number now and stuff everybody up. I don't think we've ever gotten more than, I don't know, 9 in a row.
Look,
That's pretty good.
It doesn't help when we play with 8 players.
Well, that's
We
right.
just
We
wanna-
don't play
No.
with 3 people. We play with
Yeah,
all of them.
it says 2 to 6.
The classic one is when you get someone with a 99 and someone with a 100 and both people don't want to move. And so you just watch the person with the 100 just go, I'm never moving. And then you just slowly watch the 99 person crack under the...
It is fun.
Maybe? Anyway, The Mind
Yeah,
comes
it's a
at
great
number
game.
10. Not surprising, I ranked it at number 6. I had it in my top 10. So I'm not surprised to see it up there.
I've prior to starting tonight, I've also asked the boys to predict their top 3 and the last game of the lowest ranking game, so number 30. So just
Okay. Well, The Mind comes in at number 10. So that means we'll move on now to number 9.
The position of number 9 is occupied by 2 games, both of which I have played. They are a game that, out of the 3 people that nominated it, no one could spell it. And that is Gunshot Clever and Space Base.
Wow.
I think that's a fair pairing at the same position.
Yeah, I didn't actually have
Both-
Space Base ranked in my top 10.
Both dice games.
Yep.
That's actually really, really quite tidy, isn't
It's
it?
quite fitting, isn't it? It's like we did that on purpose, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I
Yeah.
didn't put Space Base down in my bingo,
I did.
but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I ranked it in my top 13 or 14 or however many numbers I gave to
I
it.
just that was me playing the game a little bit, like knowing the room.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you guys love Space Base and Guns from Clever when we played it.
Yeah, that's true.
Matt actually had... Were you talking about Space Base then, sorry? Or Gunshot Clever?
Space Base.
Space Base Matt had ranked as 3rd in his top 37.
I don't think I gave you a list in order though. Did I? Oh, in my 37.
You did.
The
Oh,
the
right.
I
website, the
didn't put-
website
yeah.
gives you an order.
I
You
didn't put
did.
Space Base on my bingo card. Oh, no.
Oh no, the horror.
Blake had it at
Blake
6th.
and I are winning.
Ralph had it at 16th and Nee had it at 28th.
Georgie, do you know what we refer
28.
to as what we refer to Garntron Clever as on this podcast?
That's pretty clever.
We refer, obviously not.
She does not listen to this podcast.
Sexy Yahtzee is the
Oh,
word, is what we were
yeah, I
looking
feel
for.
that. Yeah.
All right, so number 9.
Boy, that's embarrassing.
I wouldn't be busting her
Oh
chops.
no! I am so embarrassed that the news of me not listening to your podcast has just come out.
Secretly we knew.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Space Base, the lottery machine dice game, and Garntron Clever, or That's Pretty Clever, also known as Sexy Yahtzee. Great games, I think, to make the top 10.
Yeah,
Okay, so
perfect.
let's move on to number 8.
Number 8 is also occupied by 2 games, and this is the last sort of double feature for the top 10. And I have only played one of these 2 games, one of which is a new favourite of mine.
Wow.
Oh no, wait, I lied.
Oh.
That's incorrect. It's not a new favorite. I've played Ticket to Ride many times, but I haven't played Drift.
Nice.
And Ticket to Ride was one where for 3 people it sat within their top 10. So Ralph had it at number 10, Blake number 3, Nee number 5. But then right at the other end of the scale, Matt had it at 34.
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the most exciting game to play for me.
It's not, but it definitely is that staple to board gaming.
Look, I think that if we were to contact James, who designed Drift,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and tell
James.
him that his game ranked alongside Ticket to Ride, that's a pretty big compliment considering Ticket to
Yeah,
Ride
definitely.
is practically one of the Golden Triangle. I know it's not, but it's up there with the standard games.
I'm honestly not surprised to see Drift creep into our top 10,
Yeah.
given just
No.
How much fun we had.
how simple this game is, but also I really want to play it in person because I do think actually putting the gears in person and like moving stuff around. Blake, we just introduced it to Blake the other night, so he got finally a chance to play it with. We actually played it at 4. I will say that at 4 players with our group, it did actually feel like very hard to pass people. Whereas with 3 players, when we played it, it did feel. I mean, Blake, you for that first race were actually in last for quite a bit of it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to go into it too much because we've got some other games to go into.
Well, I know I made quite a few mistakes. I didn't use drift points when I was maxed out a couple of times just due to the lack of... I didn't quite get that system for the first little bit, but I had fun the entire way through. And the Tokyo Drift soundtrack playing in the background provided by Nick was fantastic.
I will say I do understand why you put Ticket to Ride so far down, but I do think it is one of those... It's just so easy to... Because it's just 3 actions. It's just pick cards, play cards, maybe get a new route. That's really the whole game.
It's like the Monopoly of 4 people that actually like board games.
I don't know.
That justifies where I put it on the list and not where the other 3 put it on their list.
No,
I think.
but
No,
like
I understand
don't-
what you're saying.
It's
but
like a kind of it's a big box game. Well, I don't know if it's a big box game.
It
I
is.
don't touch the other stuff
If
on the
it's
shelf.
in half a KA, I think. Or
No, it's a 1 KA unit.
Oh,
It is-
right.
It is a
One
full,
solid KA.
It's a 1 KA.
Is that a unit of
We
measurement?
literally
It
came
is
up with
now.
it on the last
TM.
podcast.
TM.
On the last podcast on episode 19, we came up with.
so it's like the hole in a IKEA Kallax
Yeah.
shelf.
I caught on,
That's what
yeah.
we're doing.
It's impressive.
You watched like 5. You listened to 5 minutes of last week's one, I guess. No.
Yes,
okay.
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
I am supportive. Five.
I just have a question about Drift with 4 players. Slipstreaming, did that happen a lot?
No,
No.
it did not happen
Okay,
once.
Really?
And I wonder...
Because I'll be trying to like fight to get myself in a position to slipstream.
Yeah, look, it didn't really happen.
Yeah, okay.
And I would be willing to try it again at 4, but I
But
did
3
also.
was
But
beautiful.
also the very first game as well. I went from start to finish without really being overtaken. Like
Right.
I won handed from start to finish. So
Nice.
there is. I would be interested to play it with us 4, having now everyone had multiple plays.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Drift,
cool.
it is honestly, it needs a publisher. And if you are listening to this going, what is this game?
He's got one.
It does?
Yeah,
Well, they need to put it on Kickstarter or get it going because it deserves to be on people's shelves.
Yep.
So, yeah, like...
Yeah, it's a
I
great
hope-
game.
Yeah, if you get a chance, go to Tabletop Simulator, put on your best Tokyo Drift music, and give this game a go. It really is a lot of fun. Alright, so that was Drift and Ticket to Ride at number 8. And now we're going to shift over to number 7. And I believe from this point onwards, Georgie, it's just all single games.
Correct.
Because she said there was 12, and now we've already had the doubles.
well done.
Ooh,
He-
Nice
he-
math.
Good at maths.
Yeah.
Ooh, he maths dudes good.
Yeah.
Oh!
All right. So at number 7, what do we have, Georgie?
At number 7, we have Just One, which is... When did we get this? Maybe a few months ago.
I got it before Christmas because we took it to Gerringong.
There you
at
go.
the end of
Wow,
last
it's
year.
been a year.
Yeah.
Just one though.
Just one
Just
year.
one.
Yeah. Just 1 year. Yeah.
Ooh, wow, that was well timed.
So next on the list is Just One. See, I struggled. Like, I know you guys get this, but from the list, there's still a bit of a difference between Gateway, but also verging on party board game versus let's sit down and play a board game.
It's
So
a
I
wide
really-
description.
Yeah, I really like this game there's a big group of people we want to play something. We played it on the weekend.
We weren't even at the table. They had like 4 people on the couches, and we're just sitting around. Literally,
Yeah.
It was really funny though because we did say, "I'm like, okay, we play 13 rounds, and if we get 13, that's amazing." And they're like, 13 out of 13, easy. We got the first 4 wrong. And I'm like, oh, great start, guys. It was like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, it was good.
Gold.
I will admit, this was my number 1 gateway game. This was my number 1 ranking. So I had it as like, this is one of those games that for this reason you can just whip it out at a party.
Yeah. I've shown this to the family many, many times. It was a hit straight away. It's really good. I've played it so much, I think I recognize a lot of the cards, so I do need some more variety in it.
Get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually a bit surprised to see it at number 7. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm also, part of my heart was like, oh, it was kind of interesting.
Blake had it ranked at 29th, so that would have bumped it right down.
Blake?
There's always one, isn't there? There's always
There's
one.
just one.
That's fine.
Just one in this case.
I haven't played this game.
That's why, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I've heard it talked about a lot, but my bottom section of this list were games that I just haven't played.
Yeah.
And that's
I
fair
wasn't
enough.
able to give them a fair ranking.
Yeah.
This one was above the others because I've heard about it and I've heard it talked about, but I couldn't rank a game that I haven't played myself above games that I had.
That's a fair ruling.
That's also a fair
I felt
rule.
like that about a couple of these, but I just know they're good gateway games. But again, the games I have played, I voted for those.
Just one as well. If you've never played it, it's very simple. It's a co-op word guessing game. It's like you just can give one clue, and then people have got to write down one word, and that's it. You can, but you don't want to write down the same word as someone else because you want to have just one word of the clue. So it's really simple, very easy, great game. All right, It's number 7. Then we move on to number 6, which is Georgie.
Have I? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, I'm looking at the... Yep, got it. Great. Number 6.
Moving on.
Moving on. Look over there.
I'm glad.
Number 6, we have Long Shot, the dice game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So this one was not on my bingo card. It may not have been in my top 10, but I was really impressed with this game when they introduced it to me. In fact, one of my friends, who's actually a long-time listener of this podcast, I saw him, his name's Adam, I saw him at the wedding I was at recently. I haven't seen him for ages. And he's like, Ralph, I listened to all the episodes of the podcast. I can't wait to play Long Shot, the dice game.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I will say the one downside about Long Shot is that the teach for brand new players can throw people off at the start. Kind of like, there's like, you only have 6 things to do, but it can confuse people. Where it's like, well, you mean I can choose one of these things to do based on this? Like, yeah, but it is ridiculous fun. It's so much fun, and it honestly was one of the highlights from our gamer meetups at MacArthur Board Game Meetup, because we had full 8 players, and people were just moving horses randomly, and you're just like, please let my horse win.
Yeah, so
Nope, back you go 3 spots. Well, he goes forward 3 spots. Now someone else. No, he's going back 3 spots. No.
Imagine if horse racing was actually like that. Horses had to run backwards. What the hell is going on out there?
the horse's name is Michael Jackson or something. yeah. But I love it when a game, the theme makes you brings the game to life through the mechanics, and this game shines for that.
Definitely. This game was just a ridiculous amount of fun. That's the best way I can describe it.
Ridiculous is probably one of the best descriptive words for it, I think.
Yeah, I can't wait to get this game myself.
I really do love as well the footprint of this one as well. It's very small.
Yeah.
So what we call like a VHS or some like a bookcase game or something like that. It feels like a book or something. So
How many KAs would that be?
Oh god,
16th, yeah.
Yeah. We have gone to imperial measurements. The imperial.
I think we need to do a Georgie go like two decimal points. I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's 33.33% something like that. Oh, okay. So that was number 6, which is Long Shot, the dice game. Now we move on to the big boys. The top 5.
Top 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. I'm happy to see this one here. I haven't played it for a while, but it's probably one of the ones that made me start loving board games.
She said love.
Big call. Yeah.
She did.
What is it?
Well, I mean, look, I had to learn to... tolerate.
It's okay. You can say that.
Just reveal the thing quickly.
Okay.
Move on.
Moving on.
Sushi Go!
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I love
Nice.
Sushi Go.
Play the game, not the pudding.
Oh, classic.
We've now just
story.
found Georgie's epitaph.
Play the game, not the pudding. Oh,
That's awesome.
This is another
There's
game.
a great story behind that one too.
This is another game where it shines through the mechanic of itself. You know, if it wasn't card drafting, it wasn't a sushi train.
Absolutely. So Sushi Go is, as Ralph said, a card drafting game where we're just basically picking different things off the sushi train. Like you want nigiri, you want tempura, you want to have chopsticks, you want to have the soy sauce, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Really simple game. Really plays really well at 7. Plays at 6 or 7 players in the base box.
Yeah,
They
I've
also-
got the deluxe one. I think
Yeah.
it gets to 8, I think.
Sushi Go Party. Is
I
that
think
one?
it's even more than 8 because
Yeah.
we played it. Would have been it would have been I think above 10 actually.
Yeah,
it
wow.
plays at.
It's so finicky to set that one up.
Yeah.
But it's totally
The
worth
base
it.
rules, but that's a lot of fun. I'm not surprised to see it up here because it's one that it's an easy teach. It's great fun to play, and also matching back to the themes, right? The actual cards back and forth is really really easy to catch up on, as to like it matches the theme of the box, I should say.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the Sushi Go as well really works really well with, like, you can do a lot of really fun. I love the variant Sushi No, which is basically you play the exact same game, but you don't want to score any points. The winner is the person who
God.
scores the least amount of
I've
points.
never tried that.
Oh, Sushi No is a lot of
good
fun
crack.
because it's like you
Yeah.
actually then like trying to figure out, okay, I want to take the sashimi, so like the 3 points, because then if I get 2 of them, then I don't. But then you watch people as they don't take the sashimi, so it's coming flying, and you're like, no, please God, no, don't make it to me. There's a lot of fun stuff to happen out there. That was actually my number 2 ranked game as well.
Not to
So-
mention, the art in this game is absolutely
It's
beautiful.
I love
so
It's very
So
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blake, this was 21 for you. Have you played it?
I have, but only the once. It was quite a while ago. I think possibly at the first NebiCon that I attended.
Probably, yeah.
Look, I think it's a fantastic game. I don't have any problems with it. It's just so far back in the memory bank
Yeah.
that other games sort of.
Blake just hates the sea. That's all. I hates the sea and everything in it.
I can see this game being up your alley on repeat plays when there's different cards in the game, and these games are all card synergies in a way. So
Yeah.
it's right up your alley, I think.
Cool. Great
Big combo,
great
big
position.
points.
Yeah. There's a lot of big points to be had in Sushi Go.
Definitely.
Not so much big combo, but big points.
Yeah, that's
Points,
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's okay. That's probably why it's so.
That's right. That's why he's back half.
Exactly right.
Only half he's.
All right, so number 5, Sushi Go. Now we move on to number 4.
Number 4, one that I don't know if Matt has only started playing it or if it's reignited, but it was Matt's number 1, and that's Carcassonne.
yeah.
Ooh.
I just got a bingo.
Oh, I'm 1 away from a triple bingo. Damn it.
You got the diagonal.
Congratulations, man. You win. He won the
Yeah,
bingo.
that's close.
What do I get?
Nothing.
Ah,
My support and admiration.
Yeah. No, Carcassonne is one of the Golden Gateway games, as dubbed by the community. It is a very simple tile laying game. Has many an expansion. If you go back into a couple of our previous podcasts to listen to Matt talk about Carcassonne and how it's kind of taken over his family.
well, I literally bought the big box edition for Christmas. Luckily, the kids don't listen to the podcast
Yeah,
yet,
I was
so
thinking of that because I listened to last week's episode and I'm like, oh, I hope the kids aren't listening to this.
they don't know what they're 8 years old. They don't know what a podcast is yet. They don't have phones or anything. Thank goodness for that. But, so yeah,
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on the TV now.
Oh, don't say that. If I've ruined Christmas, I apologise, kids. But so yeah, bought the big box, which has got like 13 of all 13 current expansions in it. So yeah, it's taken over at the house. Not just for the kids, but also the grandparents love it as well. So
Yeah, and I learned on the podcast as well because Nee mentioned it coined the term meatball in development of this game. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it's just you all doubted me with that
I did.
fact as well.
I
You
did.
all doubted me. Look, to be fair, I do.
I don't know if I doubted you.
You probably did.
I probably
That's
did.
good.
Just to join the
What
pack.
about you, Blake? I mean,
Did you doubt Nina?
Well, did you doubt me? Did you like Carcassonne?
Well, he gives me quite a few reasons to doubt him. So yes, I do.
This is true.
Talk about diplomacy again. Here we go.
It's not that episode. Cool, we'll get back to that. All right, and now we come to the final three. So we have.
I'm getting quite nervous about this top three now.
Yeah, I'm completely like going. I don't know what is going to be in the top three at the moment. But let's get into it. Let's go. The cockroach program. I think I've got that as number 3. That's why I'm looking at it. I've got it. That was my number 3. I'd be surprised if it's up there. Is it number 3?
I reckon it's going to be in the top
Is it?
3 just to spite Georgie. that's why it's in the top 3.
So that is my number 3. But what I meant to say is let's get to the bronze medal. Let's see what's number 3.
Bronze medal, number 3 spot is a game I have not played, and it is Can't Stop.
Oh,
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah,
By the
good.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. No, I mean. No, we get copyrighted because we sing it so well. Yeah.
I didn't even put that down in my bingo. Oh, man, I'm a fool.
You're all over the shop tonight.
I'm a fully
He is.
fool. Can't Stop is a great push your luck dice game where you literally roll 4 dice. You're trying to move up basically the mountain. The mountain has numbers from 2 through to 12, and you basically push your luck. You're basically rolling numbers, banking in your banking in the what am I
The
trying
value
to
of
say?
the value of the dice.
values, and then if you you only ever get to bank or go after 3 numbers at any one time, and if you roll a 4th number and you can't bank a number, you immediately have to
You lose your progress.
you lose your
Yeah,
progress,
yeah.
right? And we love this game. We play it on Board Game Arena all the time.
Yeah,
It
same.
takes 2 minutes, and the first couple of games you're always like, all right, let's play. But then when you got people on Discord with you, you're like, go on,
Yeah, go on.
you won't do it.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
Oh, I gotta play this on
Soft.
Discord with you guys,
It is
man.
so-
It's gonna be so fun.
We literally, Ralph, it turns into a whole no balls.
Yeah.
No balls. Ah.
Look,
No
I think
dice.
I think anyone who's listened to our podcast, not Georgie, would know that I mention this game quite often. I love this game. I can't give it enough praise.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see it so high on this list.
Yeah, I've only discovered it through you guys, and I started playing it on BGA, and now it's like whenever I have a spare 10 minutes, I'll just go on BGA and play this, and it's so addictive. It's so simple. I would love to play it in person. It's probably not as snappy, but yeah, it works so well online.
Well, the great thing about this though is that you can really just need 4 dice, a piece of paper, and then
Yeah.
something just to keep you where you are currently located. They have tokens and stuff in the game. Yeah, it's great, but realistically, you just need 4 dice. You can print off the sheet of paper for free, and they've got the thing. So this is a really simple game. It's one of my favorite push your luck games. It really is up there. That's a really good.
I'm assuming it was in our top 10 for all of us for these. Is that right?
No,
For Can't Stop,
Yeah.
and he had it at number 12.
it didn't make my top 10.
Ralph 3, Blake and Matt 10.
See, I wasn't that far off. It was just
You were still out.
He was
Don't
still
you
out.
try and squeeze your
No.
way in there.
That's fair enough.
That's interesting.
You
how
pushed
that
your luck
ranking
and you
worked,
failed.
and it's still
That's
number
fair
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair enough.
Cool.
Okay, then we move on to our runner-up. This is our second place gateway game. Georgie, would you please do the honours?
I can. Second runner-up, again, I don't know what I was going to say. It is...
Yeah,
Yeah.
had to be.
See, this is one of those ones which, again, I love to play so much. But would people think of this as a board game? This is the it didn't make my top 10.
Well, put it this way, it's still, I think it's like 70th or something on the top 100 of beat
I
board
know.
game.
I know.
It probably pushes the description of a board game
That's-
to its very
but-
zenith, I
Yeah.
think.
Would you put this as like a pool table? Would you see that
Yeah.
like that?
It
Because
kind of is for me.
it kind of is. I know they do that in pubs in Canada
Mm.
because it's a Canadian-based game. But
Mate, if there's a
You won't
crocodile
ever
table
see
that
it
weighed
here.
as much as a pool table, that's pretty impressive.
well, this is cheaper than a pool
Yeah,
table.
Look,
that's for
I'm-
sure.
I've got to say, I'm not disappointed with the fact that this is in the top 10.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
it comes
yeah.
across in your voice,
No,
mate.
I'm not, because I had so much fun playing this at the latest at GooberCon that we next year for GooberCon, this is the game we're going to do the competition.
Like I said,
right?
we probably know like 3 or 4 tables now.
Yeah, exactly
so-
right. So I love this game. It just every time I was ranking it against something, I went, "Is this the game that I would use to introduce someone to board gaming?" And the answer always end up becoming no, it wouldn't be. I'd use something else. But then this would be a very early step of like, hey, if I had a board, which I'm hoping to get at some point in the early year, this would be definitely a game. Once I've got someone around and we've played a couple games, and maybe we're just like, hey, let's try this fun, quirky thing. And I think that's how I looked at it.
See, for me, I would happily play this forever. However, if someone was really enjoying this and they want to see what else Board Games has to offer, I will show them a game called Flick 'em Up, which is like a Western cowboy sort of thing. You have your 5 cowboys, I have my 5 cowboys, and you flick disc and you got to knock each other over. And there's little things in the terrain that shows more of the board gaming world, and this is the gateway to that.
Exactly right, and you're right, which is that this is like a gateway to a dexterity sorts of game.
Yeah.
So would you classify chess as a board game? Because if you would, then I would classify this as a board game.
I'm not saying I don't classify it as a board game. You're just saying
he doesn't classify it as a board game.
I think we should go to Blake.
Well, I think it's a board, and it's a game that's played on a board. So if you want to get technical about it, yes.
And it does play on a table. Like, you could just put it on the table and
Wait a minute, he had a butt.
In
Let him
saying
go.
that, with few exceptions, which Ralph has already mentioned, board games don't... For me, if I'm describing a board game, it doesn't have that dexterity part of it as part of the main mechanism, or, board games don't normally have that sort of, you have to physically achieve this. It's, it's usually through card play or strategy or, positioning on the board.
It's physical. It's mental.
Yeah, it's a physical closer to that sort of sport definition rather than like an air hockey or a pool.
So,
and yet it's our number 2.
I have a question. So I brought this over to Nia, and they were very new friends at the time when I came over. Was it inappropriate of me to bring this to a board gaming day?
No.
Look, again, right?
We haven't even got to number 1. We haven't find something number 2.
I think it's also very telling right now that we're all very much going, this is surprised like half of the table that it's as high as it is. But
it's a great game.
It's number 2. So that means we all must have ranked it relatively high in the list, right?
So Ralph had it at 7, Blake 4, Nee 18, and Matt 4.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, my 18...
See, Matt, we're in the same wavelength.
Why can't I get as many points as you, though?
You mentioned it at the start, though, but like in my head, it was like, would I have used this game as an introduction to board gaming for new players? And the answer generally was no. I would have introduced them to something else. That doesn't mean that I don't love Crokinole. I mean, after GuberCon, I literally said to Ralph, "Can you leave it here for a couple of days so we could play with it?" I
think I went in with easy to teach, fun to play.
Yeah, I think that was my sort of would you, sir, please? Thank you.
Ooh.
That sort of definition, quick to learn, quick to start playing.
That was an award,
and that's fun for these new players that don't have much experience with these games.
That's what I was aiming at as well.
Oh look, I love it. Very surprised to see it as high as it is. I did expect it to be in the top 10. I'm just actually surprised to see it at number 2.
Number 2 is impressive.
But look, this is completely impartial. Like, this is we collectively as a group have decided that this is our number 2 game. So therefore, I guess it is the number 2 gateway game. And now, but in saying that, there's only a position for one more above this.
There's only one number 1. Right?
There is only one number 1, and it's not just one, which I thought it was going to be. But
no, it's snooker.
So, Georgie, would you do this the honour and please reveal our number 1 gateway game?
What was it, Ralph?
Snooker.
No. What was it?
It was a scorpion.
It is.
Number 1 game
Georgie,
is cockroach poker.
That fucking hurt. I just want to say I'm really sorry. It was just all a bit of fun. I've been sending Georgie gifts of scorpions and telling her it's a bat.
Cockroach poker number 1.
That's gold.
Which is a very simple lying game. Telling fibs. Very simple. Take one card, pass it to another player, and tell them what it is. It is either it or it's not. Or they can look at it and then continue the lie or create a brand new lie. Take your pick. We actually have a let's play of this, a playthrough of it on our YouTube channel. So go there as well. Check it out. The audio quality wasn't too hot on that, but we're working on it. But you can see how much fun we had in that game.
You'll also understand why we're so happy that it's number 1 at the moment.
Oh yeah,
and then Georgie had to announce it.
Actually, this is the 5. This is the 5 players we had playing that's right. She hasn't listened to a podcast, but she appeared in the video before as well. So
the truth is that this is all just a ruse, and they've just strategically created this, We'll put 37 in, but everyone make sure that Cockroach Poker is number one.
You know
just
what?
for Georgie.
That is so good. I wish we did it.
Yeah.
That could have been a lot of fun.
So Cockroach Poker was the only game where all four of you had it in your top 10. So
Wow.
Ralph had it as number 1, Blake number 7, Nee number 3, and Matt number 8.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I've shown this game to so many different groups through the years. Like I said last time, I think I've had it for 6 years or so. It's always been a hit. I haven't seen it fall flat with anyone that I've taught. Like, occasionally, I show people a lot of games and it doesn't click with some people. This one's always clicked.
Yeah, it's one of those games. It takes. I think why I loved it so much and it got as high as it did is because it takes the classic formula of. I think it takes the classic formula of bullcrap, bullshit, the card games and stuff, and basically simplifies it even more. It says, hey, you don't need to worry about figuring out, or maybe if I say 3 of a kind, or who's got what other cards. It's just one card. Just take one. Put one card in there and just figure it out, and then from there you know, and I think that's why it's so good. It simplifies it but doesn't lose the spirit of what this game would truly be about. I think so.
So Matt got his prediction correct. He guessed number 1, Cockroach Poker. I mean, nothing else was right, but that one was. And Blake successfully guessed that number 2 would
I
be
think you killed it.
Crokinole.
Yeah. So Matt got 2 of the top 3 with Cockroach Poker and Crokinole in there. Okay, so that means our
Just not in the right order.
So that means our top 10 list, starting from number 10 is The Mind. Number 9 is Space Base, and that's pretty clever. Number 8 is Drift and Ticket to Ride. Number 7, Just One. Number 6 is Long Shot, the Dice Game. Number 5, Sushi Go. Number 4, did I write down number 4? Carcassonne. Sorry, I did not write it down. Let's put that down. Number 3 is Can't Stop. Number 2 was Crokinole, and apparently the game that we all think is the best gateway game is Cockroach Poker.
That's a great list.
That's actually a really good list, guys. I got to admit, I'm actually really super proud of us for coming up with this list. We've had this. We came up with this 2 weeks ago. So if you're listening to this now, and wondering why we're all a bit giddy about this, is because we've all wanted to know where these games would be ranked. And so as we said, this is all done. So
It's all anonymous, so
all
there's
anonymous.
been no hand-holding of anyone in this one.
No, and so we've talked about this as well. And this is going to be a yearly tradition. We are going to do this every year, where at the end of the year we are going to rank and do this exact same process. And I think it'll be very interesting to see whether or not some of these games hold up, whether or not some of these games we're looking at them through the rose-tinted glasses of having just played them.
And they might be replaced by new games we find out during the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'd be very interested to see what even makes the pool. So if you're listening to this as well, so that's our list. If you're listening to this and you're thinking my favorite board games weren't mentioned there are some notable misses that we that didn't make the list. I mean, guys, we had Codenames didn't make the list, didn't make the top 10. Love Letter, King Domino, the Patchwork didn't make it. These are all some big games. I do want to mention that there are even some bigger misses, because I want to mention a few games that are gateway games that did not even make the pool of games. I actually went and had a look at this. So if you'll give me 1 second. So these are some of the games that did not even make our top 37 games.
Yeah, there's some games on here, like Drift is a fantastic game. We've all only played it maybe twice. But it's so good, and it's made our top 10 list. That's amazing.
Absolutely. I want to let you know, so people out there, to give you an idea, some of the ones that we actually did miss. Quacks of Quedlinburg didn't actually make our pool of games, which I was actually quite surprised about. But again, like, as much as we love that game, it's like, does this game pop into our heads as we're thinking of gateway games?
Yeah, no, it doesn't for me.
And me neither. It's not a game that I would say this is the first game. So another ones would be, for example, Settlers of Catan didn't make it into our pool. Splendor, Seven Wonders, Takanoko didn't make it. The Resistance didn't make it. Azul didn't make it. These are all games that we would think are very light, fun games. But if you're thinking, oh, that's a great gateway game, I mean, like we said, Ralph, like Quacks of Quellenberg, love that game.
Yeah.
Love it. But it's not the game that pops into my head when I think gateway game.
Any game where the word AP or analysis paralysis could be mentioned in that game, Quacks is one of them. I wouldn't put it as a gateway game. Like, you don't want people frozen in fear when you're introducing them a game. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on there. So, I mean, what about you guys, though? Is there anything that you are surprised didn't make the list that you thought may have been a bit higher that we're looking at the list?
Yeah, I honestly thought Love Letter would have been in there.
Mhm.
As well as, I know we haven't really mentioned it too much, but I really like King Domino, playing that with young kids as well. Just they're thinking about their health and thinking about, if I go in Tokyo now, that's a bad idea. So you get to, like, simple decisions. So I was surprised that those two weren't in the Gateway at all, really.
Yeah, there's nothing in the list as well in the more in the puzzle category, like in the Turing machine kind of category of games where we're solving.
So like Decrypto or code
like
games?
none in our
Like
top
the
37.
code,
None of them appeared at
I
all.
think the closest you're going to get to that would be the unlock,
Yeah, possibly.
the unlock games.
Codenames is also a bit of a puzzle.
I'm wondering if that is as well, looking at this list, though, if that's because I think those sort of games can be very polarizing. I think if you're not a fan of, like, deduction, logic puzzles, like, you would probably bounce off of those really quickly, and I think that's the same. As much as I love those games,
A lot of people don't find the fun in that puzzle. Like, we enjoy the chase, the hunt, and of actually trying to solve it first. But a lot of people would just get very, very, they get put down, I suppose. But if they didn't solve it, feel very, very down on themselves, I suppose. So, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me, but that I wouldn't consider that we have that kind of here are your clues given by the game side of things rather than by your teammates, which I think Codenames would probably fall under.
Georgee, are there any games in the top 10 that you haven't played that you're, like, really keen to give a go? Will that sound interesting to you?
Drift.
Well, yeah, that does sound like a hoot, and Can't Stop sounds like quite a hoot as well.
I can't believe she hasn't played Can't Stop.
I thought we had played it on BGA
Look, there's
with her during COVID, but
the
I don't know.
stats app may hold it over my head, and it will turn to me
Consult
and
the
go,
book.
"It's here, it's on the book." But I can't recall.
I won't do that during the podcast.
Yeah.
After the podcast,
Oh,
best believe that I'm going.
Keep
for that.
recording.
He'll mention
bad
it
boy.
next week.
Yeah.
I thought something like Trap Words may have at least been on the 37.
I've never played that one.
Oh,
Trap
well,
Words-
let me introduce you to a game.
Please,
Trap
please
Words
do.
didn't actually make my list either. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the thing because, look, and maybe on reflection, maybe there are some of these games where I'm like, maybe it should have been in that list because I
Yeah.
would actually probably, like, we took Trap Words to a party on Saturday night. A few people had played it, but a few others hadn't played it. Granted, at that point, it did actually make me go, maybe this is not a great gateway game experience for some of these people. Who knows? But I am actually, to be honest, I'm actually very surprised that games like King Domino and Llama didn't actually, as you said, Ralph, didn't actually make in the top 10.
I thought Llama was going to be there, to be
I mean,
honest.
I'm assuming Matt has Llama in his top 10 rankings, but it didn't.
It may not have been in my top 10.
It's a little surprising if it didn't.
It would have
to be
been.
honest.
It would have been up there. I don't know if it was in top 10 because it was one of the ones that I put to the list.
Llama was ranked 22. Matt had it at 15.
There you go.
Nee 26. Blake 22. And Ralph
I
33.
Yeah, look, I liked the game, but I think there's a lot better gateway games even for the smaller
See,
kids.
I wonder if that says something about Llama about how simple that actual game is.
Yeah.
Which is that maybe some people may actually go, "This is too simple. Is this all there is?" I mean, because look.
But I mean, on that, it really should be the number one gateway game because it really is the entry point, right? This is as simple as it gets.
But it depends-
Doesn't get any simpler than
But it
this.
depends who you're showing that game
Yeah,
to.
that's right.
And I think there's something to be said about not just being introduced to board games and achieving the most simplest game. Like, it's actually quite satisfying when you learn a game and you're good at it, i.e. if Nee teaches me a game and I win because he bought the game, so he loses the game. That's how it works.
She loves and kicks my ass at Dominion.
Yeah.
She is so good at Dominion, where it's like there's sometimes she comes up with a combo, a big combo, big point, and I'm like,
Just knock your king over, mate. Just walk away.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
So it's like it's nice to be able to play games and feel a bit clever or feel like
You've accomplished something.
you've accomplished something.
Yeah.
And I think like all of these are so different. Like for me, Crocodile, I'm like, I'm no sports. Like that's not my jam. Whereas like Dominion or King Domino or something where I can, play a bit of a strategy is something like
I
that.
think that's also what. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's maybe what plays to Llama's detriment. For example, I think maybe some people may think this is like maybe I'm being babied here. Maybe this is too simple. Like, yeah, I get this. This is like where's the meat? Where's the beef? Where's the the crunch to this game?
And perhaps the reason that you're surprised is because I do talk Llama up because I play it with the kids and they love
That's
it.
it. And even
So it's been a
even
big
us
part
as
of our
well, yeah.
last, I don't know, 2 months worth of
Yeah.
podcasts, I'd say.
And I've loved being able to start games with Jeeves, like,
Yeah.
and she's getting it, and yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Like showing games to kids of that age. You guys introduced Happy Salmon to me, and I thought I love that game a lot better than Llama, and it
Yeah?
still fits
Fair.
in that age category,
Fair.
right?
Yeah, absolutely right, and that's what I'm saying. So it's like it's really interesting when I look at this list and I look back at. I'm looking forward to actually seeing a full graphic of these games side by side because I honestly do think that there is such a really good.
Think it's coming.
A broad. Oh no! Do you have the list?
Georgie is Mrs.
course I have
Stats.
it.
Oh well, if we could get the graphic of
I
all
haven't
10.
had a pause in the conversation for me to give you my stats yet.
Oh.
I have
Oh,
stats.
there's more stats.
Oh, there's more
Stats.
stats.
There's
We
more stats.
we actually haven't also asked Blake if there's any surprises for him.
Yeah, let's
We
go.
usually only talk to 4 people, and now there's a
Sorry.
5th person here, so Blake is just left behind.
Look, I think other than you already mentioned Love Letter, which I think was quite surprising. I thought that might make the list. I think the only other one for me was a game that if it makes sense, I didn't think would make the list, but I thought would slip in there because of our last 2 event casts that we've done. It slipped into our list somehow, and that's Galaxy Trucker.
Yeah.
It always it
I
slipped
put it
into
down
our.
twice on my bingo card by accident.
It was that confident.
Close. It was close. It was 13th.
13.
Wow,
Okay.
and actually that's a lot higher than I expected it to be.
Because it slipped into our board game draft, and it slipped
Yeah,
into
my top 10.
Top 10.
It
So
slipped
it's,
into my DMs.
But again, yeah, that's the thing, which is again, like I love that game, but is it one of my top 10 gateway games again? And that's the thing. It was very interesting to go back and look at these lists and go, actually, no, I would probably rank that game in my top 10.
Yeah.
Over, like for example, I would say Drift is a better game than Codenames, but maybe I got swayed by the fact that maybe more people like Code or play Codenames, so it's got so many different variants.
I think though with Galaxy Trucker in its against it is I know that I would only play it with a certain group of people. It's not one that I would give to everyone.
yeah.
You've got to love the theme and you've got to love the hunt and that initial chase. And then there's a board game after that as well, after the build stage.
Yeah.
So you've got to have people who know games and want to play an actual game,
Yeah.
I think.
It actually surprised me because I thought the same, but as soon as I explained the theme of it to someone, like we're making a ship out of junk, they're like, "Oh yeah, let's give that a go. That sounds really interesting." Because everyone likes making something.
Yeah.
I think the thing that you've got to be aware with Galaxy Trucker specifically is everyone loves making something. A lot of people hate getting that something destroyed by absolute
Yeah.
And you have to be like, I just spent the past 3 minutes in real time making this glorious ship. I've got all the cargo, and then one lone comet hits the reactor core, and my whole ship exploded. This is bullcrap, right? Like, I think so long as you go into the game knowing that
It's
this is what
swinging,
you're in for,
yeah.
you've got to be okay with it. Like, your ship is probably going to be destroyed. Don't make it perfect. I think that's why I think a lot of people can be hit or miss in Galaxy Trucker, because a lot of people go, I don't like. It's like I like putting the ship together. I don't like that it can just be destroyed by random chance.
That's the thing. Like there's the build stage and then there's the actual board game that follows that, right? Which I think, not to its detriment, but if there is that Deus Ex Machina kind of thing where your game just ends, that would suck.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Blake, on your side?
No, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, there were games that I think out of what I ended up having my top 10, I think maybe only 2 games different from the actual top 10 list.
Oh, that's really
I also
interesting.
had to. I've just looked at your sheet and I've seen you had Takedo at top 5, and I had Takedo at number 9, so it was in my top 10. As
Yeah,
well.
that's one game that I really, really enjoyed, but I didn't expect it in the top 10. I don't know, it's one of those games I pegged you guys as not enjoying as much as I did, but I really love that
I
game.
really like it too. I think we should actually probably try and get that one going as well. All right. So from that, we've got some stats.
Some stats
Yeah, so that's
and a last place to announce, isn't it?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
also had to put in what we thought would come last. So
I suppose just from a point standpoint, the number 1 ranked game was had 19 points.
Right, okay.
And the last ranked game, so game 30, had 125 points.
Mm-hmm.
What a loser.
From a nomination standpoint, from a nomination standpoint, there was only one game that all four of you nominated, and that was Sushi Go.
That's interesting. I would have thought there'd be at least 2 or 3 that we are all...
No, all four of you nominated Sushi Go.
Wow.
And then Can't Stop, Carcassonne, Gunshot Clever, and The Mind were nominated by 3. And everything else was 2 or completely individual.
Interesting.
Blake's number 1 ranked game was Ralph's number 37.
I expected that.
Yeah.
Look, and because I've never played it, it sounded really interesting. That is Atmosphere, the board game.
It is
Yeah,
Atmosphere
and-
game.
and look-
yeah.
It only topped my list because it was my personal gateway game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone back and gone over the rules, trying to look over it with a fresh set of eyes.
They're
What I know.
re-releasing it, right?
They are, yeah. I've gone over the DVD one, the one I used to play, just with a fresh set of eyes of what I now know about board games. Was it really as good? And I looked at all the rules, and they're just simple rules. You roll the dice, you move, you do an action, But there's this crazy guy who comes in and interrupts your game, and I sometimes just open up a YouTube and just watch some of the things he does to you in the game, and I just end up laughing my ass off. It's
okay.
It's really funny, it's really campy, and it's just something that
Sounds
I
cool.
think that almost anyone would enjoy if I had the chance to show it to them.
Yeah.
The top 4 all began with the letter C. It's probably the most interesting stat I have.
She's right. Look
I had the letter A.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, see? And in fact, you could say
I'll leave.
that this podcast is proudly brought to you by the letter C, because coming in at number 30 was Clank.
Oh.
Had it on my list. I had it down there at number 30.
Yeah.
I like the game. I just don't know if I could say
I've never played Clank.
it's
Yeah.
a deck building race game, essentially.
It's very simple deck building mechanics. It's kind of a bit push your luck as to how far you go in a dungeon to steal some treasure from a dragon. I really like this game. Would love to show you guys at some point. I think Nee's already played it. But yeah, I think it's really cool.
I liked it too. Just I don't rate it as a gateway
It's a gateway,
game.
yeah.
I just don't think Clank's much without Ratchet. Okay, that's my last one. That's my last one.
Oh my
Oh wow!
gosh.
Even Georgee audibly moaned.
Okay.
He's on fire.
Am I allowed to reveal a bit of a summary about...
Sure.
So these are the games that had the position of 21 to 30.
Oh.
So we have 30 is Clank. Number 29 is Blockus and Zombicide. Number 28 is Risk. 27 Patchwork. 26 Welcome to. 25 was King of Tokyo. 24 Land, Air and Sea. Atmosphere up to 23.
Oh, that was Air, Land and Sea.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Air, Land and Sea, so not the other one. 22 was joint between Llama and Dominion, and 21 was Lords of Vegas.
Yeah, Lords of Vegas, I feel like is a more of a complicated
Yeah.
game. It's not really a gateway game.
I expected Air, Land and Sea to be a bit higher than that. I haven't played it, but just from listening
But I haven't
to the
played it either.
podcast that you guys played,
Yeah, it's a really good.
it sounded like a lot of fun. Sounded like something I would enjoy.
It's a fantastic 2-player dueling game with 6 cards, like really each. So it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
really good. So that was our 30th through 21st. And then our 20th through 11th came in as... The 20th was... We put the Unlock series all together because it's very hard to separate them. Unlock and For Sale come in at number 20. Tortuga 1667. At number 19, Baron Park... I think it's that...
Baron Park. yeah.
Baron Park at number 18. King Domino at 17. 16 was joint between Pandemic and Telestrations. 15 was Codenames. 14, Formula D. 13 was Love Letter and Galaxy Trucker. There it is. Number 12 was Tokaido, and 11 was Horrified. So an interesting.
I really need to show you guys Bristol 1350 or
I
something.
think you do as well.
I've played both Tortuga in that one, and everyone prefers Bristol. But in saying that, Tortuga is a fantastic game too.
Yeah. So a very interesting top 10, top 20, top 30.
What was your 30th?
I said Clank and Atmosphere would be down there because I just think because the three of us haven't really played it since a long time ago. But I also put Clank down there because I'm like I don't think for me I was like I just can't rank it high. I don't think it fits well with the deck building theme. I actually really like the game. I actually really had a lot of fun playing it. Reese is not going to be happy with me. The fact is it's one of his favorite games. I think he's
I really like it too.
But
I think though I don't even know what it was. So every time it came up, it didn't matter what it was against. It was like, well, if I know the game that it's against, that would got the win.
Same, like I've never played Tokaido before.
Yeah.
So
and I think a lot of this again. So this is so if you're really only listening to us to the first time, what you're really learning about is that we're all coming to this from a whole bunch of different perspectives. And actually, this year we've played a lot more games than we've ever played, and I think starting next year we're going to play even more games. I think there's a lot more gateway games. Like we were at one point, we're like, we seem to be smashing through gateway games, but there are so many more games that we could actually be talking about as our gateway games of the week. So there's plenty more.
I could add some to the list.
Please
There's some on
do.
these lists that I've played and I would consider gateway games, even though I don't really know what that means. But no, I do.
she's listened to the podcast.
Yes.
Give me an example. Do you have an example ready of one of the games?
Yeah, she's got a list.
Well, trap words I think could be added. I also there was one.
She just turned around to look at the board game collection because she's like, oh wait, she needs to see it, but that's okay.
I like Sabotage.
I like Sabotage.
Saboteur.
Yeah, Saboteur.
That one.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I've got the expansion for that. Still new. I haven't opened it because the first base game is all you need, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think Hues and Cues is a good. I know that's kind of verging on party game territory.
Oh, is it?
Well, I don't know.
We've played it that way.
Yeah, but Hues and Cues, I think would be for the same reason that you would classify Crokinole.
See, I have a question on Hues and Clues.
Yeah.
I'm colorblind, so would that impede
No fun for you.
my ability to play that?
It really would.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
literally
That's a
would.
shame.
Yeah, so it's
I
not
like
really a
that
gateway
game.
game for me. The
Fair
gate's
enough.
closed.
Yeah, gate's closed. And then another new one that I've enjoyed playing recently is Isle of Cats.
We have
But
come.
I don't know. Oh, Matt doesn't like
No,
it.
Oh, just fucking cats.
He likes the
doesn't
game.
like
He
cats.
doesn't like the cat.
If it was Isle of Dogs, it'd be my favorite game.
But again, this is your jam. I don't know what quite meets the criteria of gateway. Like I get
Well,
the gist.
neither do we. If you look at that list,
Yeah.
we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Like if you've made it this far in, I really, we have to thank you. But I do think the official thing would literally be at this point after the top 10 is like literally, it's kind of like what we think we would get, like we would bring to the table to show someone who is new to board games that this is a game that they may not be either intimidated by or just have a good time. Like I think that's kind of what we're all trying to do at this point.
I think our definition of a gateway game is something that that other people would enjoy playing at a table with us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
party games are great, but all of the games on our list, you would sit down without a television going, something in the background, and just like we're doing now, have a conversation and a bit of a game.
That's why
and
Atmosphere wasn't on the list because the television's on.
That makes sense
but,
now.
but you're right, Matt. Like I reckon anyone can walk into the room now, and any one of these games, if it hits the table, we'll all play it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and so with that, we are going to start wrapping up tonight's episode. I'd like to first of all thank our second ever guest, Mrs. Georgee, sitting at the end there.
Oh, well done.
Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for offering to do the amount of work that you have done.
And
Like,
extra
I didn't
curricular.
offer, I just did it.
Yeah.
Georgie loves lists.
She does. So we're going to take these
And
images.
data.
We're going to take these images, and we're probably going to put them on the website as well. So have a look. There will be an article posted on our website that'll have a lot of this kind of breakdown and some of this stuff as well. So that should be a lot of fun. But on behalf of myself and my three co-hosts, Matt, Blake, Ralph, we'd like to thank you very much for listening to the Board Game Gateway episode number 20. We did it, guys. We had our first major milestone.
20.
When we started.
Shots.
Absolutely, let's go. we'll do that at the beginning of episode 21.
I'd say so. Let's do it then.
Our 21st birthday.
So next week is going to be our final episode for 2022. We are again going to be doing another little special one because next week is going to be our Christmas gift giving episode. We are going to be going through that episode. We'll take you through that.
Next week. Yeah.
So if you like what you're listening, please go to our website, www.boardgamegateway.com. We have the links to all of our social medias, Facebook, YouTube, Discord, and all of the fun stuff there. So please go on and check that out. But thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll see you in episode 21.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Awesome. Well done, George. Well done, everyone, actually. That was good.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
No, what I do.
Solid top 10.
I'm like, oh, you have this.
There's not one in there that I go, meh.
Yeah.
I think it brings
we have
the
lanyards
differences in us
to
together
rock on.
nicely.
Yeah, for sure.
Before
Nothing
we
wrong
do-
with lanyards.
Before we do anything else, though, just